Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and the Plague Star bounty has finally popped up, so let's quickly go through all you have to do as well as all the things you can get. So the bounty itself is very straightforward. Simply go to Kunzu, scroll all the way down, and there it is, the Plague Star bounty. So the bounty always follows the same structure. You will head out into the plains of Eidolon, you will have to go down one of the many caves to retrieve a toxin before bringing that toxin to a mixer where you can add the catalyst as well as the final axis. More about that later. You will then have to deliver the now mixed toxin to a drone which will carry it over to the Plague Star and drop it in, which will start the final phase of the bounty. Now the way to buy rewards from this mission is to simply talk to an Akag who now has a special option you can select called Operational Supply, where you can see all the rewards and, well, buy them as well. Now the rewards are mostly resources, so you have things like Cetus Wisps and Kuta Tendrils, but there is also the blueprint for Eidolon Phalanxes, which is one of the two things that will get you better rewards from the bounty if you mix them into the mixture during the mixing process, with the blueprint for the other ingredient, the Infested Catalyst, being available from the Infested lab in your dojo. But anyway, the other rewards are a blueprint for the Ether Daggers, and then we have two Arcanes, or Exodia Arcanes rather, for Zos. We have Exodia Contagion, which makes it so that if you do an air attack while aim gliding, you will send out a projectile that will explode and do some damage. Now this can also proc status, and it will knock the enemies down with a blast proc as well, but it's been nerfed quite a bit, so it's not anywhere near as ridiculous as it used to be when it first came out, where it would just one-shot everything, including you. And the second arcane is the Exodia Epidemic, and what this one does is after you do a double jump or a bullet jump, if you do a slam with a melee weapon, it will send out a wave that has a similar effect to Rhino Stomp. Then there are some more resources, so we have Mercury Liver and Heart Nith, and then there is Fulmination, which is kind of like a mini firestorm for secondaries. Following that, we have two flares, which increase the radius of affinity sharing, as well as a fully built format that's actually quite cheap. Then there is an Orc Brain, another resource before the four big ones, and those are the Plague Zopart. So we have Plague Aquin, Plague Bokwin, Plague QR, and the Plague Kripeth. And the reason why these Zoparts are so good is because they make some of the, if not the best, condition overload Zos in the game. I mean, look at the damage. This is from a code start with Blood Rush, and we're fighting level 150 heavy gunners, which, thanks to their armor scaling up and up and up, have an effective health pool of about 4.5 million. And the reason for that is because Plague QR and Plague Kripeth give your Zos innate viral damage. And that's really good because not only does it add another proc for condition overload to scale off and just skyrocket your damage, viral procs also reduce the enemy health by 50% for 6 seconds, which is incredibly strong and just gets stronger the more health the enemy has. Then you can also buy the Plague Star emblem, which does not look half bad, as well as the Sacrifice, which is a mod for your Sentinel that sacrifices the Sentinel, reviving you, which is quite cool. Especially if you combo it with Regen or Primed Regen, which regenerates the Sentinel. Then there is the Snipetron Blueprint, which is a pretty outdated snipe rifle. And finally we have the Radiant Centurion, which is yet another resource. Now let's talk a little bit about the Infested Catalyst as well as the Eidolon Phalanxes. So once you acquire the blueprint for these, you can build them in your foundry. Both of these are really cheap to build, they build 5 at a time, and it only takes 1 minute to build them. Also, don't forget to put them into your gear wheel before you start the mission, otherwise you won't be able to mix them in. Now what these will do, once you mix them in during the second stage of the bounty by simply using them from the gear wheel, is make the final stage of the bounty harder, but also get you better rewards. With the Infested Catalyst adding in more and more Hemosites, the Blephantis-esque boss you have to fight at the end, and the Eidolon Phalanxes increasing the enemy level during the final stage of the bounty. And let me tell you right now, if you don't know what you're doing and or you don't have the gear yet, do not go 4-4 as soon as you can, especially if you're soloing, because the final stage of this bounty can get really rough really fast. Though the upside of doing that, of course, is that you get as much standing as possible, because each one of these either phalanxes or catalysts you mix in increases the number of standing you get at the end. And that is pretty much all there is to say about this, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and it was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.